I want to talk to you about this clown. I don't know how many people have come across this video. This beautiful lady, this woman has tried to steal somebody's baby. Couple wanted her to help them to watch over this baby while they did the applications to get their baby over to the US.
It's a woman in Nigeria that sued this pastor in Houston, him and his wife. He's the pastor of Streams of Joy Church, Pastor God's Time Pendant, but they adopted a girl from Nigeria, an orphan who was abandoned at birth. They couldn't bring their daughter to America. They had to leave her with a trusted friend in Nigeria. And that is when the story got crazy. When I looked up the trusted friend that was listed in the court document, her name is Timipri Wall. On social media, she introduced herself as an international lawyer, founder, speaker, mentor, advocate, and nation builder who is passionate about public policy, education, social inclusion, justice, empowerment of women and girls, the founder of Center for Gender Equality, Education and Empowerment. By the way, I also saw a video of her on her Facebook page. She was speaking, she was on the pulpit, and she wrote Streams of Joy Women's Meeting Houston, Texas in the description of that video. So this woman has been to their church in Houston. They must really know each other. She's been to their church, she has spoken at their church. Anyways, but this auntie now sued them that she has become attached to the baby. So she wanted the court to revoke their rights and give her the right to adopt the baby. Come again. Is this a play? Is this a play? On her Facebook page, I saw her carrying one particular baby in multiple pictures, both of them wearing anko. I get it, I understand. But guys, how did we go from help me look after my child while I'm processing her immigration to her saying you don't deserve to be the parents of this child? She even got a restraining order against the parents before taking them to court, which means that she's been denying them access to this child. On top of that, she now took them to court to legally take the child from them. Anyways, guys, this court case lasted for 2 years. And because she had restrained them from having any contact with the child, that means that the parent could not see their child for years. Now, after 2 years, in 2024, the court declined a request. Guys, in May of 2024, the parents won the court case. So they won the law case. However, Miss Timmy was told to return the baby to the Ministry of Women Affairs in Abia State while she goes to Abia State to ask the court in Abia State to revoke the rights of the adoptive parent if she insists on adopting the child. All this was written in the court document. But she didn't return the child to the parents or the Ministry of Women Affairs, so she kept the child. And that same year, she now appealed the court judgment. She appealed though on the basis of challenging the adoptive parents' custodial rights. She wanted to secure adoptive and custodial rights for herself because according to her, she has grown deeply attached to the baby. So she said that giving her to her parents now will affect the child. You have parents flying back and forth to Nigeria to attend court hearing on whether or not they can keep their own child. What peripheral level of madness are we talking about? I'm sorry. What in the world is going on here?
Well, let me tell you what is going on. What has happened here with this woman. There is no surprise at all.
When I saw that story, I was like, no, I need to talk about this. So in May of this year, the parents won the second lawsuit. Everybody was happy. People were celebrating online. So once again, the court told Timipri to return their child. But guys, it's been 2 months. Not only has auntie refused to return the child, she's now taking them to the Supreme Court. Like, that's it. How do you fight a lawyer? This auntie is a lawyer. Now she's taking them to the Supreme Court. And I saw that story. It broke my heart that this girl is growing up without her legal parents, without her siblings, her adoptive parents. They've not had contact with her for years.
Fresh concerns are being raised over the whereabouts of a child at the center of prolonged custody disputes involving Nigerian-American adoptive parents and a temporary caregiver in Nigeria.
So looking at this young lady's credentials, looking at everything that she has on paper, she looks so wonderful. She is presentable. Just looking at her, you will see her as somebody who is trustworthy, somebody who has a reputation that she would want to guard. Look at the type of work that she does. And after they have had all the plans and had all their futures built into being parents of this child, she thinks that all that does not matter because what matters is what is important to her. And anyone who sees a person like this would feel so lucky to have her. But the problem is that people keep basing their judgments on everything that looks great, on the external. But that is not how to know a person. You can never know a person even by all the things that people say. How do they treat others? How do they respond in situations where they are under pressure? What do they do when you have problems and you bring it to them? You see, the thing is, all those things are on the external. And this is the reason why people have relationship issues that you see and hear about all over the place, because people are basing everything on the external. Remember that people can put up an act. So it is a little bit ridiculous, I have to tell you, when we make all these lists and say, what do they do in situations like this? Have you found out how they this, how they that? That is not how it goes, my friends. That is not how it goes. It looks and sounds very sensible. This is when we say that our wisdom is, how is it said again? It is said, using the foolish things. Okay, let me Google it. talking about using the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. And it goes on to say it is a powerful concept. Instead of relying on the traditional power of human intellect, God turns the world's expectations upside down using ordinary and even foolish things, foolish people and methods to accomplish ordinary things and reveal his truth. It is actually a very confounding, confusing fact, but this is really the truth about real life. And let me tell you something about life that a lot of people are not aware of. Everything about life is about human relationships. When we understand this, we will have a better flow and things will be smoother. When we look at human relationships, the reason why people find themselves surprised, the reason why things fail is because we continually judge things on the external. We look at what a person says, we look at their actions. Those things are not unimportant. They are important because they can be hints. They can show us little snippets, little glimpses of a person's possibilities. Those are not necessarily a person's character. Those are just possibilities. And so when we see things that are negative, that tells us again that these are possibilities. So it is always better when we see things that are positive. However, we do not base our relationships and belief in the outcome of our relationships just on those positive things. The truth is this. The real truth is about testing the spirit. And when we say testing the spirit, it is not that you're going to apply any test. It is that you are going to see the spirit of the person. So a person can say things and a person can do things. So those are words and actions. Words and actions are still able to deceive us. That is why a lot of people find themselves in puzzling situations. Sometimes people come back and say they pretended, they showed me something else, or they love bombed me, they showed me another personality. That, my friends, is because there is only one thing that makes a person a safe partner. And even being good does not guarantee that a person would be a safe partner. And why is this? This is perplexing to people. That is why you also see that even people who are good also experience, even sometimes have very toxic relationships. Because no matter how good their behavior is, even with all their good qualities, they will still see life. We will still see life through selfish lenses unless and until we have crossed a certain level of awareness. And you will be the one who can tell if a person that you're dealing with has reached that level of awareness through your interactions with them. But the kicker is that you will not be able to tell unless you yourself have also reached that level of awareness. Because what you do not have the characteristics of, you cannot judge it properly. You cannot see it. And even right now, as I speak to you through these videos, some people out there would base their judgment of me on the things that I am teaching. Just that is enough for some people to feel sure that they know me. I have already received messages from people who talk to me in my inbox as though they really know me, and I shake my head. This is how people position themselves to be fucked up the ass, have their lives messed up, turned upside down. People play with their hearts all the time. People play with their lives, and then they turn around and cry wolf. The real thing is a certain level of awareness. When you are at that level of awareness, you can interpret the spirit of a person who aligns with you. How do we get there? It takes some work. And this is why when they tell you that relationships are work, it is true, but it is not what it means, because to the ear, it sounds like the relationship is what you have to work on. No, you have to do that work before you get into a relationship. Indeed, it is that work that you have done when you have really done that work that will get you to be able to even choose the partner that aligns with you. Because when you haven't done that work, you will never know when you're in a place or in a relationship that is out of alignment with you and your soul, your destiny, and your path in life. You know, we used to hear that in the days before that people would go for something like a consultation to see if these two people who are trying to get married, if they really align, this is what it is. Those things were real. But it doesn't necessarily have to entail you today in 2026 going to sit at a shrine or going to have somebody to do divinity or to do some future seeing for you. I don't know how they do that, but I can tell you that it is a gift that is available to those of us who have decided to be real and authentic. And you as well can also have that gift, but you have to get to that level of realness and authenticity. I laugh at people in my interactions with people. Sometimes I will say to somebody who I am very, very close to and I can actually talk to very freely, I will say, you know, our relationship is this way and that way, and this is how it is going to work, that is how it is not going to work. Sometimes some people will look at me and they say, but how do you know that? And I'll say, let us watch it and see. You know, and I smile because I know that my authenticity enables me to have this gift. And this is why every time that we have a relationship, whatever is playing out in that relationship is according to our own being. It is according to who we are. That is the result that is going to play out in the relationship that we have. So the best thing for you to do is to know that, to understand that when you're finding yourself surprised in any relationship, even when you're working hard, you know you have done everything, I just want to remind you that everything that you have done is only external. These are just acts. That is why efforts can never make relationship work. Presentation of a person like this young lady now, you can see all those things will never tell you who a person really is. You know that you may be dealing with a person who appears good on paper, but internally you're dealing with a madman. So do not make your relationship judgments based on what you're seeing on the external. You need to pipe down. See, the principle of whatever we sow, we will reap always remains true. If you go and sow on rocky ground, you are not going to reap fruits that are very healthy. And that is why our relationships turn out the way they do. If we sow on rocky ground, we will reap relationships that are not healthy, not smooth. I hope with this has opened your eyes just a little bit. You have to really pipe down. When you find that it looks like you have made an error in judgment, it is not necessarily that you didn't see right. You saw everything that you saw, but it is because you haven't reached that level of awareness. I invite you to come in so that I can give you some training on awareness and how to begin to get there by yourself, because this is the only way that you can have relationships where you are at rest. That is why I say all the time, relationships are not difficult. It is that people are approaching relationships from the wrong lenses. And with that, I wish you love. See you in my next video.